This manuscript was almost lost forever. For centuries, it stayed sealed away in the deepest part of a nameless temple, hidden by the desert and by fear. They say it was written by the very first person who inscribed truth. He wasn't just a god. He was the one even the gods relied on, the one who gave them form through the power of the word. Master of invisible laws, witness to the judgment of souls, keeper of the secret name you're about to hear. These aren't lessons for everyone, but revelations from the one who created language itself, who understood that reality isn't just observed, it's spoken. For the first time in over 5,000 years, his voice breaks the silence, not as a distant scribe of hieroglyphs, but as the soul who discovered that the word is destiny. Stay with me until the end, because if you listen with your heart, you'll learn how to name your world, awaken your soul, and remember your truth. This isn't just a manuscript. It's a mirror of your sacred word. And now is the time for you to speak. Chapter 1. The Guardian of the Eternal Word. Before the first breath shaped the void, before light even knew its name, I am Todd, the one who writes in the air with a quill of fire, the guardian of the word that never dies. From the edge of time, I've watched souls forget their true name, searching outside for what has always been engraved in their hearts. Listen, awakening soul. What you're about to hear isn't just words. They're the vibrations that hold up worlds, the echoes of the primordial word still humming deep inside you. Every syllable you say after learning this truth will be a key that either opens or closes the doors of reality. Long ago, when the earth was young and gods walked among mortals, there was a scribe named Keti. For years, he copied hieroglyphs on temple walls, thinking it was just decoration. One night, while carving sacred words by starlight, something incredible happened. When he loudly spoke Ra's secret name, the hieroglyphs began to glow with their own light. From the papyrus, luminous shapes danced before his eyes. Keti then realized what I had whispered to the wind from the start. Every word written or spoken with full awareness is an act of creation, not just empty sounds from a wise mouth, but invisible architects shaping the fabric of the world. The scribe understood he didn't just copy the gods' words, he embodied them, bringing them to life in the physical realm. But his joy turned to fear when he saw he had also spoken words of destruction unknowingly. He'd written of wars, disease, and separations, and all of these things appeared in his life and the lives around the temple. The power of the word cuts both ways. It can create paradise or abyss depending on the consciousness of the speaker. That night, I appeared to Keti, not as people imagine me with an ibis head and human body, but as pure vibration, the echo of every word ever spoken or yet to be. I spoke to him without moving my lips, directly into his soul. Child of dust who longs for eternity, you've discovered the secret that separates gods from mortals. Now you must choose. Forget what you've seen and return to sleep, or become the guardian of the eternal word. Keti chose the light, and from that moment, he became one of my most devoted disciples. But before granting him full wisdom, I taught him the first law of the word. Every word spoken with intention returns to its speaker multiplied. Speak of abundance with true faith, and abundance will come. Speak of limitation with conviction, and limitation will appear. The universe doesn't judge your words as true or false. It responds to their vibrational strength. Now, awakening soul, I want you to understand what Keti learned through years of practice. You're not a victim of circumstance. You're the architect of your reality through your words. Every word you speak is a seed planted in the invisible garden of existence. Every thought you hold is a prayer that the elements hear and obey. The sacred technique I'm about to share was the first I taught Keti, and it's the foundation of all creative power. For 7 days at dawn, face east and say, I am the word that knows itself. My verb is one with the eternal verb. What I speak in truth takes form. But don't say this as an empty phrase. Feel it rising from the center of your chest. Let it vibrate through every cell until you no longer know where you end and the word begins. After speaking, stay silent for the length of a full incense stick. In that silence, listen, not with your ears, but with your soul. There you'll hear my voice whisper the secret name you came here to embody. Remember, seeker of the eternal word, you are not who you think you are. You are the word that chose to experience itself through the body you call your own. When you awaken to this truth, every word you speak will be sacred, every silence a prayer, every breath a verb that creates worlds. The path ahead isn't easy, but it's the only way to true freedom. Chapter 2. The Word that formed the cosmos. In the beginning, there was silence, and that silence was perfect. But inside that perfection was an endless longing, the longing to know itself. I witnessed that sacred moment when the singular consciousness spoke the first word, and that word was its secret name. By speaking itself, it divided into endless possibilities, each becoming a world, a star, a soul like yours. Listen with an open heart, because what I'm about to tell you is the secret of all secrets. You are that original word choosing to experience itself through form. You are not a product of chance, nor a victim of fate. You are the singular consciousness expressing itself through the experience called your life. Long ago, when the pyramids were new and initiates understood the secrets of the heavens, there was a priestess named Neferet. For years, she served in the temple of Isis, believing the gods were separate beings, entities she had to worship and plead to. One night, while performing sacred ablutions under the full moon, she heard a voice that seemed to come from the water itself. It was my voice, whispering the secret I have guarded since the dawn of time. Daughter of light seeking herself, you don't worship gods outside yourself. You are the goddess who forgot her divine nature. Every prayer you say is your own consciousness talking to itself. Every ritual you perform is your soul remembering its creative power. Neferet stood still, not out of fear, but because she recognized the truth deep inside her. Yet her mind, trained to see separation, struggled to accept such vastness. How can I, a mere mortal, be the same consciousness that created the stars? She asked the moon's reflection in the sacred water. Then I showed her the vision I now share with you. I revealed how the primordial word unfolded across the cosmos. At first, it was whole and indivisible, perfect in its unity. But to truly know itself, it needed a mirror. It needed to experience duality. So the one word split into two, light and shadow, above and below, I and you. But the two longed to be whole again, so it became three, the sacred trinity of observer, observed, and observation. Three unfolded into four, the primal elements that form matter. Four expanded into five, the fifth essence that animates all forms. Five multiplied into six, creation's perfection and balance. Six completed into seven, the levels of consciousness linking human and divine. And seven crowned into eight, eternal renewal, the never-ending cycle. So the original word became the sacred geometry of the universe, the music of the spheres, the dance of the planets. Each number is not just a count, but a quality of consciousness, a note in the cosmic symphony Your soul was born to play. Neferet understood she wasn't just a single note, but held the whole symphony within her. Whenever she spoke with full awareness, she set in motion the very forces that created the cosmos. Her human voice echoed the cosmic voice and could create or destroy depending on the harmony or discord of her words. From that night on, Neferet became one of my strongest scribes, but she had to learn the second law of the word. Words hold power only when born from sacred silence. Words spoken out of fear, rush, or unconsciousness are like sterile seeds that find no fertile ground. But words that arise from deep silence, true love, and connection to the sacred center are like rays of sunlight awakening life wherever they fall. Now, listening soul, I want you to experience what Neferet discovered. Your personal word is connected to the cosmic word, and when you speak from your true center, the same consciousness that spoke the worlds speaks through you. The sacred technique I'm revealing now is what I taught Neferet to link her personal word with the cosmic word. Find a quiet place where you can be alone and still. Sit facing east and place your hands over your heart. Breathe deeply until your breath and the breath of the universe become one. Then say these words, not as mere sounds, but as vibrations rising from the center of your chest and spreading to fill all space. I am the word that speaks itself. My voice echoes the eternal voice. What I speak in unity manifests in multiplicity. After each phrase, pause in silence, feeling the vibration expand beyond your body, beyond your room, beyond your world. Repeat this for 9 full breaths. On the 10th breath, say nothing, just listen. In the silence after the word, in that sacred space between sound and stillness, you'll find the gateway to cosmic consciousness. There lies your true name, waiting to be remembered. Remember, seeker of the eternal word, you're not a single drop separated from the ocean. You are the entire ocean experiencing itself as a drop. When you speak from this understanding, your words will have the power to move mountains, heal hearts, and awaken souls. Not because it's you speaking, but because the primordial word is speaking through the form you temporarily call your being. Chapter 3. The secret name that dwells within you. There's a name never spoken aloud since the dawn of time. A name every soul knows before birth but forgets when incarnating. A name that vibrates in the silence between your heartbeats, breathes in the space between your thoughts, whispers in the sacred moment between sleep and waking. That name is you. Not the you think you are, but the you that eternally is. Listen, soul searching for your deepest truth. That secret name is the personal verb the singular consciousness spoke when it chose to experience itself through your form. It's not a sound you can write with letters, but a vibration that embraces your whole existence. When you remember it, when you speak it from the sacred center of your being, you awaken a power you've always had. A power hidden beneath the veils of incarnation. Long ago, when the temples of Luxor shone with ancestral wisdom, there was a high priest named Amenhotep. For decades, he recited invocations, sacred formulas, and powerful mantras. Yet something felt missing. His words moved energies and healed minor ailments, but never reached the transformative power ancient texts spoke of as the gift of true initiates. One night, while meditating in the temple's most secret chamber, surrounded by hieroglyphs that seemed to pulse with life, Amenhotep entered such deep silence that he lost sense of where his body ended and space began. In that sacred void, he heard something new, his own secret name, spoken not by an outside voice but by his awakened soul. It was a sound without letters, a vibration without form, an echo holding his entire cosmic story. In that secret name was the reason he chose to incarnate, the mission he came to fulfill, the unique gift only he could bring to the world. For the first time in his life, Amenhotep truly knew who he was. That's when I appeared to him, not as a picture, but as a living presence. Child of light seeking itself in shadow, you've heard what few mortals hear in a lifetime. The name resonating inside you is your cosmic signature, your unique frequency in the universal symphony. When you speak from the consciousness of that name, it's not you speaking. It's eternity speaking through you. Amenhotep wept, not from sadness, but from recognition. He realized that all those years, he'd been using borrowed words, inherited formulas, learned prayers, but now he had access to his original word, his personal verb, the vibration connecting him directly to the source of all creation. From that night forward, Amenhotep's words carried a power that amazed even the most experienced priests. When he healed, was it his hands that cured? No, it was his secret name vibrating through them. When he taught, it wasn't just his knowledge that changed his disciples, but his secret name resonating in their hearts. When he prayed, it wasn't his petitions reaching the heavens, but his secret name rising like sacred incense. But the greatest discovery came when Amenhotep understood his secret name wasn't something he owned. It was who he was. It wasn't a tool to use, but the very essence of his being. When he fully embraced that vibration, Amenhotep the priest faded away, and his secret name became flesh. Now, listening soul, know this. Your secret name is waiting to be remembered. It's not something to hunt outside yourself, but something to let rise from within. It's engraved in the most sacred temple of your heart, waiting for the right moment, when there's enough silence to hear it and enough courage to speak it. Your secret name holds the code to your cosmic purpose. When you speak it consciously, you'll unlock powers you never knew you had. Your words will carry an authority that needs no proof. Your presence will shine a light that needs no explanation. Your life will become a living prayer that transforms everything it touches. The sacred practice I now share with you is what I taught Amenhotep to access his secret name. It's a ritual to be done in complete solitude. In the stillest part of the night, when the world is asleep and your soul is closest to remembering its origin, sit in meditation with a straight spine and hands resting gently in your lap. Close your eyes and breathe deeply until your breath syncs with the rhythm of the universe. Then place your right hand over your heart and softly but firmly say, I am the name that speaks itself. My vibration is unique in creation. My secret name is revealed now. After these words, stay completely silent. Don't listen just with your ears. Listen with your whole being. Your secret name might come as a nameless sound, a vibration in your chest, a deep recognition, or a light that ignites inside you. Don't judge or analyze it, just receive it with gratitude. When you feel you've received a revelation, no matter how subtle, bring that vibration to your throat and speak whatever comes, whether known words or unknown sounds. Do this ritual for 21 nights in a row. Each night your secret name will become clearer. At the end, you'll have formed a conscious connection to your cosmic identity, and every word you speak will carry the seal of your spiritual authority. Remember, seeker of the eternal name, you're not who others say you are, nor even who you think you are. You are the name the singular consciousness spoke when it chose to experience life through your unique form. Living from that truth, every moment becomes sacred, every word an invocation, every breath a prayer. Chapter 4. The Sacred Art of Writing Reality. The reality you see isn't a solid wall where your soul crashes. It's a flexible papyrus, written with ink still wet, waiting for you to remember. You are the scribe. Every day, with every word you say, every thought you hold, every emotion you nurture, you're writing the story of your life. But most people write while asleep, with the shaky hand of unconsciousness, creating confusing texts they can't later understand. Listen, soul awakening to your creative power. Reality doesn't just happen to you. You create it. You're the author of your story, the architect of your temple, the composer of your symphony. But to write consciously, you first need to know that the ink you use isn't visible to the eye. It's made of the subtlest and most powerful substance in the universe: your focused attention. Long ago, when Alexandria was the center of wisdom in the known world, there was a young scribe named Ptolemy, not the famous astronomer, but a humble copyist working in the great library, transcribing sacred texts without truly understanding their power. For years, he copied formulas of transformation, rituals of manifestation, and invocations of abundance. Yet his own life stayed dull and limited. One afternoon, while copying an especially ancient papyrus about the mysteries of creation, something extraordinary happened. The text seemed to write itself, as if an invisible hand guided his quill. The words that appeared weren't from the original manuscript. They came straight from his soul. I am the one who writes his own reality. My quill is attention. My ink is intention. My papyrus is the infinite field of possibilities. Ptolemy froze, stunned by the revelation. He realized all those years he hadn't been copying someone else's text. He'd been writing his own reality without knowing it. Every word copied in boredom reinforced his boredom. Every passage transcribed with limitation solidified his experience of scarcity. That's when I spoke to him through the words themselves, right from the heart of the manuscript. Child of the ink seeking itself in the word, you've discovered the secret that turns a copyist into a creator. The reality you experience is exactly the story you've been writing with your attention. If you want to change your experience, you need to change the way you write. With a shaky voice, Ptolemy asked, "But how can I write consciously if I can't see the ink or the papyrus?" I answered, carried by the whisper of the wind stirring the scrolls. Your attention is the quill. Your intention is the ink. Your imagination is the papyrus. Every time you hold an image in your mind with conviction that it's real, you're writing that reality in the invisible book of your existence. From that day on, Ptolemy became a scribe aware of his own life. Each morning before touching any manuscript, he spent time consciously writing on the invisible papyrus of his destiny. He visualized his perfect day. He felt the emotions of every desired experience. He spoke the words he wanted to hear. He imagined the situations he longed to live. But the deepest change came when Ptolemy realized writing once wasn't enough. Reality had to be rewritten constantly, because unconsciousness always tried to take the quill back and keep writing out of fear, doubt, and old patterns. Writing reality consciously requires loving vigilance, constant attention to the story unfolding moment by moment. Now, listening soul, understand what Ptolemy learned. Every moment in your life is a chance to write your experience consciously. You're not a victim of what you wrote in the past. The papyrus of reality is always fresh, ready for new words, new stories, new possibilities. The sacred technique I'm sharing now is what I taught Ptolemy to become a conscious scribe of his reality. It's an art that takes daily practice, endless patience, and above all, faith in your creative power. Each dawn, before the world wakes and pulls your attention away, find a quiet place to sit without interruption. Take a real papyrus or a sheet of paper and a pen or pencil. But you won't be writing with visible ink. You'll be writing with the ink of your conscious imagination. Close your eyes and breathe deeply until your mind calms. Then picture before you a golden papyrus glowing with its own light. On this papyrus, write the perfect day you want to live, not with ordinary words, but with a sacred script of felt experience. Imagine each situation you desire, but don't see it as something outside of you. Feel it as if it's already happening. If you want abundance, don't write, "I want money," but feel the emotion of already having it. If you want love, don't write, "I want to be loved," but feel the warmth of already being loved. If you want wisdom, don't write, "I want understanding," but feel the clarity of already understanding. As you write with this invisible ink of felt experience, gently say, "I am the author of my own story. What I write on the golden papyrus of my imagination manifests on the visible papyrus of my experience. So it was, so it is, so it shall be." After writing your perfect day, remain silent for the length of one deep breath. In that silence, feel how the invisible words you've written imprint themselves onto the very fabric of reality. Don't doubt, don't analyze. Just trust that sacred writing always finds its way into manifestation. Throughout your day, whenever you catch yourself unconsciously writing stories of limitation, fear, or lack, pause and remember, the quill is in your hand. Rewrite that moment consciously, transforming your experience, not by struggling, but by consciously telling a new story, a new possibility. Remember, scribe of your own destiny. Reality is as flexible as clay in a potter's hands. Every word you speak, every image you hold, every feeling you nurture is shaping the clay of your experience. When you write from the consciousness of your secret name, every stroke becomes a powerful line connecting your intention with manifestation. Chapter 5. The Geometry of the Soul. The soul isn't some shapeless cloud drifting aimlessly through infinite space. It's sacred architecture built with perfect geometry, the geometry that holds worlds together. Every soul has its own geometric design, its own cosmic mandala, its own invisible temple where the divine spark lives. When you know the geometry of your soul, you can consciously navigate the halls of your being and unlock the secret chambers where your deepest powers sleep. Listen, soul searching to know your own architecture. Just like stone temples are built following sacred proportions that link earth to sky, your soul is structured by geometric patterns that connect your individual consciousness with the cosmic whole. Every feeling you have, every thought you think, every choice you make travels through the pathways of that invisible geometry. Long ago, when Memphis was the world's capital and its temples reached the stars, there was a sacred architect named Imhotep. Not the famous pyramid builder, but a humble designer building smaller temples, believing geometry was just a tool for making beautiful shapes. For years, he drew perfect circles, harmonious rectangles, and equilateral triangles, following the proportions his teachers gave him. One night, while sketching plans for a new sanctuary by the light of an oil lamp, something extraordinary happened. The lines he drew on the papyrus began to glow with their own light, rising off the page like threads of pure gold stretching into infinity. Imhotep realized he wasn't just drawing shapes on a flat surface. He was tracing the outlines of dimensional realities. The circle he'd drawn transformed into a glowing sphere containing entire universes. The triangle became a crystalline pyramid connecting the heavens and the abyss. The square unfolded into a cubic temple, each wall a doorway to different states of consciousness. Imhotep understood that geometry doesn't just describe outer forms, it reveals the very structure of reality itself. That's when I appeared through the geometric shapes, speaking to him from the core of each form. Child of the line seeking completion in the circle, You've discovered that geometry is the language consciousness uses to build itself. Your soul is no different from these temples you design. It's crafted with the same sacred geometry that holds the stars in place. With wonder in his voice, Imhotep asked, "How can I understand the geometry of my own soul?" I answered softly, "What happens when lines meet? Your soul is built like a temple with 7 chambers, each having its own geometry, connected by corridors of light. The first chamber is circular, the seat of your essential unity. The second is dual, representing polarity. The third is triangular, home to your creative will." I showed him how the 4th chamber was square, balancing the 4 elements of his nature. The 5th was pentagonal, the seat of his power to manifest. The 6th was hexagonal, the place of perfect wisdom. The 7th was heptagonal, the chamber connecting him to eternity. Whenever you feel a strong emotion, I explained, you're activating one of these chambers. Each important choice you make navigates the corridors linking them. When you truly understand your soul's geometry, you can choose which chamber to live in at any moment. From that day on, Imhotep became a conscious architect, not just of external temples, but of his own inner one. He learned that when he felt scattered, he needed to return to the circular chamber of unity. When confused, he activated the triangular chamber of decision. When feeling disconnected, he rose to the hexagonal chamber of transcendence. But his greatest discovery was realizing he could consciously create new geometries inside his soul, that through contemplation, meditation, and sacred words, he could expand existing chambers, build new corridors, even add new levels to his inner temple. Now listen closely, soul. Yours is built with this same sacred geometry. You're not a formless being adrift in the void. You're a magnificent temple with specific chambers designed to hold different parts of your consciousness. Knowing your inner geometry lets you consciously navigate your own being. The sacred technique I'm revealing now is what I taught Imhotep to consciously open the chambers of his soul. It's an inner journey requiring stillness, patience, and the ability to see with the eyes of your soul, not just your flesh. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, ideally somewhere you feel sacred. Close your eyes and breathe deeply until your mind settles like a calm lake. Then picture yourself standing before the entrance of a magnificent temple built with geometry you've never seen. Say these words, "I am the architect of my own soul. My inner temple now reveals itself to my awakened consciousness." Each chamber opens, each corridor lights up, each level appears. Step inside the temple of your soul and let your intuition guide you to the first chamber. Notice its shape, feel its vibration. Sense who or what dwells there. Don't judge what you see. Simply receive it with gratitude. Each chamber of your soul is perfect in its function, sacred in its purpose. Stay as long as you need. Some chambers will call to you more than others. Some may feel familiar, others completely new. When you're ready, find the corridor that leads to the next. As you explore, remember you're navigating the sacred architecture of your own being. Every form, symbol, and sensation you encounter holds clues about your soul's structure. You don't need to understand it all with your mind. You just need to experience it consciously. When your journey ends, return to the temple's entrance and thank your soul for revealing itself. Carry with you the knowing of your own inner geometry and the certainty that you are a beautifully structured being, a living temple where divinity lives. Remember, architect of your being, your soul isn't an unsolvable mystery. It's a temple waiting to be consciously explored. Each time you explore its chambers and activate its sacred geometries, You awaken dormant parts of your divine nature, waiting for your conscious recognition. Chapter 6. The Lost Language of the Gods. Before languages were split at the Tower of Babel, before people forgot that all words echo a single, original word, there was a language that needed no sound to be heard or symbols to be understood. It was the primordial tongue, the sacred language the gods used to communicate with each other and with awakened souls. This language isn't lost. It's just forgotten, resting deep inside you, waiting to be remembered. Listen up, soul searching for connection with the eternal. Every word you say in any human language is just a pale shadow of that original tongue. When you speak from your true heart, when your words rise from sacred silence, you're actually speaking fragments of that divine language. The gods don't want you to learn new words. They want you to remember the creative power already living in the words you know. Long ago, when Thebes was the holy city where God spoke with mortals, there was a young priestess named Sekhmet. She spent years memorizing hymns in the ancient tongue. She recited invocations in forgotten dialects. She sang mantras in languages no one understood. But despite all her knowledge, she felt the sacred words she spoke were empty shells. Beautiful to hear, but missing the true power the texts promised. One early morning, while performing prayers in the empty temple, something amazing happened. The words she'd spoken thousands of times suddenly resonated differently inside her. It wasn't that they sounded different. It was that for the first time, she heard them with her heart instead of just her mind. Each syllable became a vibration, awakening ancient memories deep within her. Sekhmet realized she wasn't just saying dead words from a forgotten language. She was remembering the eternal tongue her soul spoke before birth. Each sacred sound she made was a key unlocking doors in her consciousness, connecting her to levels of understanding her mind couldn't reach. That's when I appeared through the very words she spoke, speaking to her from the heart of each sacred sound. Daughter of the word seeking its source, you found that the language of the gods isn't in the words themselves, but in the consciousness behind them. When you speak from your sacred center, any word becomes a divine action. With reverence, Sekhmet asked, "How can I always speak in the language of the gods?" I answered in the echo, "What do true words do in the heart?" Divine language has 3 layers. The first is conscious silence, where words are born. The second is the heart's vibration, where words are charged with power. The third is sacred pronunciation, where words become acts of creation. I showed her that conscious silence isn't the absence of sound, but the full presence of awareness when you speak from silence. I said, "Your words carry the weight of eternity. When you speak from mental noise, your words scatter like dry leaves in the wind." I taught her that the heart's vibration bridges intention and manifestation. When you truly feel what you say, your words carry the life force that moves worlds. When you speak without feeling, your words are like seeds thrown on barren ground. Finally, I explained that sacred pronunciation doesn't rely on perfect sounds, but on knowing you're channeling the divine. When you realize eternal wisdom speaks through you, I whispered, every word you say becomes a blessing that changes everything it touches. From that moment, Sekhmet became a master of the sacred language. Her words healed wounds ointments couldn't touch, awakened souls asleep for decades, and summoned divine presences filling the temple with light. What's most incredible is that she did this speaking in the common language of the people because she learned any language becomes sacred when spoken from divine consciousness. Now listen, soul. You can speak the language of the gods too. You don't need to learn new words or chant ancient mantras. You just need to remember how to connect your human words with the eternal word vibrating inside. The sacred practice I'm sharing with you now is what I taught Sekhmet to awaken the divine language in any conversation. It's an art that changes not just what you say, but how, and most importantly, from where you say it. Before you speak any important word, whether in a chat, a prayer, or a moment of conscious creation, do this inner ritual. Take a deep breath and bring your attention to the center of your chest. Feel that sacred space where your physical heart meets your spiritual heart. From there, silently say, I am the channel for the eternal word. What I speak comes from sacred silence. My voice echoes the divine voice. Notice how these words spark a special vibration in your chest, as if tuning you to a cosmic frequency. Then, before speaking, pause for a moment in conscious silence. This isn't empty silence. It's silence full of presence. In that silence, connect with the pure intention behind what you're about to say. Feel your true desire to serve, heal, create, or bless through your words. When you finally speak, speak like every word is born from that sacred center in your chest. It doesn't matter if you're asking for something at a store, comforting a friend, or saying a prayer. When you speak from a conscious heart, your words carry the frequency of love. And love is the universal language all beings understand. Use this especially when you're tempted to speak from anger, fear, or impatience. In those moments, pause, breathe, connect with your sacred center, and let your words come from peace, not agitation. Remember, speaker of the eternal language, you're not just making sounds, you're a channel for the divine word. When you speak aware of your sacred nature, every conversation becomes a communion, every word an offering, every silence a prayer lifting the world's vibration. Chapter 7. The Judgment of the Word. Your soul. Before the scales, every word you speak is recorded in the invisible book of your existence. Every silence you choose becomes a sacred space where your soul can breathe. When you leave your physical body and stand before the cosmic scales, it won't be your actions that are weighed, but the words that flowed from your heart. Deeds are the fruits, but words are the seeds that determine the nature of those fruits. Listen, soul walking toward your eternal judgment. The tribunal waiting for you isn't filled with outside judges who assess your life from afar. You are the judge. Your own consciousness weighs each word on the scales of truth. The feather of Ma'at isn't a tool for punishment. It's a reminder that your words carry eternal consequences. Long ago, when the pharaohs understood the secrets of the afterlife and prepared their souls for the journey beyond, there was a high priest named Cain Wasit. For decades, he led ceremonies, blessed the dying, and recited formulas to guide souls through the passage. Yet despite his deep knowledge of funerary rites, he had never truly faced what it meant to stand before the judgment of the Word. One night, while meditating in the temple's sacred chamber, Cain Wasit had a vision that changed everything he knew about death and judgment. He saw himself leaving his body, floating above his still form, aware yet free from the limits of flesh. A golden light surrounded him as he found himself before a monumental scale glowing with eternal fire. But there were no frightening judges or accusing demons. It was just him, his bare consciousness, and the echo of every word he had ever spoken. One by one, those words appeared as glowing scrolls on one side of the scale. On the other side rested the feather of Ma'at, the symbol of absolute truth. Cain Wasit watched in awe as his words were weighed. Words spoken with true love shone like pure gold and balanced the scale. Words said with sincerity, even if simple, held their weight with dignity. But words spoken in falsehood manipulation, or cruelty appeared as dark scrolls threatening to tip the balance. That's when I appeared, not as a judge, but as a witness to his own judgment. Child of the word that judges itself, you are experiencing what every soul feels when freed from the illusion of separation. There is no outside tribunal. Your own consciousness knows the weight of each word spoken in your life. Cain Wasit asked in a trembling voice, "What happens if my words don't balance the scale?" And I answered with the compassion that embraces all souls. Then you come back to learn. You reincarnate until you master the art of conscious speech. But understand, this isn't punishment, it's opportunity. Every life is a chance to speak words that lift the universe's vibration. Then I revealed the deepest secret about the judgment of words. Not all words weigh the same. Words spoken consciously, from the heart and with pure intention to serve the greater good, shine so brightly they can balance out even the darkest shadows of the past. A single word spoken in true love can make up for 1,000 words born of fear. "But there's more," I whispered as the vision faded. "The words you never said are weighed too. The silence when encouragement could have healed a heart. The truth held back when it could have set a soul free. The blessing left unspoken when it could have transformed a life. Silence carries power and responsibility." Cain Wasit returned from his vision completely changed. From that night forward, every word he spoke was first measured against the scale of his own conscience. Before speaking, he asked himself, "Does this word uplift or degrade, heal or hurt, free or bind?" And he spoke only words that could face the judgment of eternal truth without fear. Now listen, soul. You should know the judgment of your words isn't something that happens after death. It's happening right now with every word you speak. Your consciousness constantly weighs the vibration of your speech, and you hold the power to decide which words to place on the scales of your destiny. The sacred practice I'm sharing with you now is what I taught Cain Wasit: to live in constant awareness of the judgment of your words. It's a practice that turns every conversation into a sacred act, every word into a conscious offering at the altar of truth. Each night before sleep, sit quietly and review the words you spoke that day. Don't do this with guilt or harsh judgment, but with the loving honesty of someone who truly wants to grow. Picture a golden scale before you, the feather of Ma'at shining on one side. Recall each important conversation. For every word spoken with love, truth, and good intention, place a glowing scroll on your side. For every word spoken in anger, deceit, or harm, place a dark scroll. Recognize their weight without judgment, but commit to choosing better tomorrow. Then remember the words you held back, times when you could have comforted but stayed silent, when you could have told the truth but avoided it, when you could have blessed but stayed indifferent, and acknowledge the weight of those silences too. After this honest review, say these words from your heart. I am responsible for every word that comes from me. My words have the power to create or destroy. I choose my words to be a force of healing in the world. Tomorrow, my words will shine with the light of conscious truth. Finally, picture your scale perfectly balanced, not because you're flawless, but because your intention to grow is sincere. Feel the peace that comes from knowing each day offers a fresh chance to speak words that raise the universe's vibration. Remember, soul that judges itself. Don't wait for death to face the judgment of your words. Every day is a chance to speak words that stand tall before the scales of truth. Every conversation is a chance to deposit pure gold into the treasury of your eternal consciousness. Chapter 8. The Laws of the All. Mentalism, Vibration, and Correspondence. Everything is mind. Everything is vibration. Everything is reflection. These three words hold the essence of what the cosmos whispers at every dawn, in every breath, in every heartbeat of the universal heart. I inscribed these laws on the first emerald tablets, back when the world had no name and matter was just a dream of supreme consciousness. Once there was a pharaoh who believed he ruled his kingdom with an iron fist. Every morning he looked out from his palace over the lands he claimed, the people he called subjects, and the treasures he imagined were his. One day, watching his pyramid being built, he came to me and said, "That I want my words to have absolute power over reality. When I speak, I want the elements to obey, stones to rise on their own, rivers to change course." I replied, "O king, your request shows you don't yet understand the nature of what you govern. It's not your words that need power. It's your understanding of the laws already governing everything that exists." I led him to the palace's most secret chamber, where I had engraved 3 symbols in pure gold. An all-seeing eye, a wave stretching infinitely, and 2 serpents mirrored. "These are the 3 master keys," I told him. "With them you won't dominate reality, but discover that you yourself are the reality you seek to control." The first symbol, the all-seeing eye, stands for the law of mentalism. Everything is mind. The entire universe is a mental creation of the all. There is no matter separate from consciousness. No object exists apart from its observer. No external reality exists that isn't a reflection of inner reality. When the pharaoh grasped this, tears filled his eyes, realizing his kingdom wasn't something he owned. It was something he was. The universal mind is like an endless ocean, and each conscious being is like a drop holding the ocean's entire essence. When you speak a word, you're not just moving air. You're creating a ripple in the ocean of consciousness. When you think, you're not generating something in your brain, you're accessing the all's infinite library. The second symbol, the eternal wave, reveals the law of vibration. Everything moves, everything vibrates, nothing is still. From the densest rock to the subtlest thought, all is in constant motion. The difference between matter and spirit is just a difference in vibrational frequency. "Reach out your hand toward that stone," I said to the pharaoh. When he did, I continued, "What you call solid rock vibrates at such a high frequency your senses perceive it as still. But if you could tune in, you'd see each atom dancing with the same energy as the stars." Understanding the law of vibration means realizing that changing reality doesn't require brute force, but raising your vibration. Every word you speak carries vibration. If you speak from fear, you send out waves of fear that attract fearful experiences. If you speak from love, you send waves of love that attract loving situations. The third symbol, the mirrored serpents, teaches the law of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. As in the great, so in the small. This law shows the perfect harmony between different levels of existence. "Look at your kingdom," I said. "You see disorder in your lands because there's disorder in your heart. You see rebellion among your people because there's rebellion in your soul. You see scarcity in your granaries because there's scarcity in your mind." The pharaoh looked at me with new eyes and asked, "If I change my inner world, will my outer world change?" I didn't answer right away. "It's deeper than that," I said. "When you realize there's no inside or outside, only one reality expressed on many levels, you won't need to change anything. You'll see that all is already perfect as it is." These 3 laws aren't just ideas to understand. They're truths to live by with your whole being. When your heart beats with mentalism, every thought becomes a seed of reality. When your breath aligns with universal vibration, every word becomes a cosmic command. When your soul embraces correspondence, every action becomes a living prayer. Practice this for 7 days. Before speaking any important word, place your hand on your heart and remember, everything is mind, and my mind is one with the universal mind. Everything is vibration, and my vibration is sacred. Everything is correspondence, and my words reflect the cosmos's perfection. You'll see your reality shift, not because you learned a new trick, but because you remembered who you really are. A conscious part of the all, temporarily living in human form, with the power to create worlds by the sacred word. After meditating on these teachings for a full moon, the Fearo came back to me transformed. His eyes shone with a light I'd never seen before, and he said, "Dodd, now I get it. I don't need to command stones with my words, because my words and the stones are one. I don't need power over reality, because I am reality expressing itself." And so I inscribed on the emerald tablets, "Whoever understands these 3 laws holds the master key to all mysteries, because there's no greater mystery than realizing the seeker, the sought, and the seeking are all one reality, vibrating perfectly with the infinite mind." Chapter 9. The number that breathes. In the beginning, there wasn't the word, but the number, and the number breathed. Before the first word was spoken, before the first name existed, the sacred rhythm at the heart of creation was already alive. I, thought, witnessed how supreme consciousness exhaled the first number, and with that breath, time, space, and all possibilities of existence came into being. There once was a priestess of the temple of Isis named Nith, who devoted her life to unraveling the cosmos's mathematical mysteries. Her mind was so sharp she could calculate the movement of stars with perfect accuracy. For decades she studied sacred ratios, number sequences, and divine geometry, believing wisdom lay in the complexity of her equations. One night, gazing at the stars from the temple rooftop, she came to me, desperation in her eyes, and said, "Todd, I've memorized every sacred number, deciphered every divine ratio, drawn every celestial geometry, but I still don't know the ultimate secret. Where is the number that governs all numbers?" I smiled and replied, "Nith, you've been searching among the stars, but the answer is in your breath. You've been counting external numbers when the number you seek is counting you." I led her to a secret chamber where there was no scroll, no tablet, no measuring tool, only a black obsidian mirror. "Sit before this mirror," I said, "and just breathe. Don't count, don't measure, don't calculate, just breathe." At first, Nith resisted the simplicity of the instruction. Her mind was used to complexity, intricate calculations, and elaborate formulas. But as her breath grew steady, she started sensing something always present, but overlooked. "Do you feel it?" I asked. "The rhythm beneath all rhythms, the number that counts itself, the pulse that needs no measure because it is the measure itself." Her eyes lit up as she finally experienced it. The breathing number is not 1, nor 2, nor 3, nor any digit you can write down. It is the living number, the conscious number, the number that exists before being counted and after being forgotten. This breathing number is the primal pulse, ordering all creation. When your heart beats, it follows this number's rhythm. When seasons change, they dance to this beat. When a star is born or a galaxy fades, They obey the number's pattern woven into the fabric of space-time. But thought, Nith asked. How can a number breathe? How can it be alive? I answered, because the number isn't just a mental idea. It's the very structure of consciousness. When you count from 1 to 10, you're not moving lifeless symbols. You're participating in the cosmos's creative act. Each number is a state of being. Each sequence is a divine melody. Each equation is a mathematical prayer. Then I revealed the deepest secret. The breathing number is your soul counting itself. When you inhale, you are the number expanding toward infinity. When you exhale, you are the number contracting toward unity. Between inhalation and exhalation, you are the number gazing at itself in the mirror of the void. So, I continued, when you speak your true name, you're not just making sounds. You're singing your sacred number. When you state an intention, you're not just moving air. You're encoding the equation of your destiny. When you pray, you're not speaking to something outside. You're harmonizing your rhythm with the universal rhythm. Nith sat silently for a long time, feeling her breath sink with a deeper, older, more authentic rhythm than any formula she'd studied. Finally, she asked, how do I work with this breathing number? I taught her the secret morning ritual. Before saying your first word, place your right hand on your heart and your left hand on your belly. Feel the dual rhythm of your breath and pulse. That is your personal number resonating with a universal number. When you sense this synchronicity, declare your most sacred intention, not as a wish, but as an equation already solved on the plane of causes. For 40 days, Nith practiced this ritual. Slowly, her life began to align with a mathematical precision beyond any calculation she'd known. Her needs showed up exactly when needed. Her relationships found perfect harmony. Her intuition grew as accurate as astronomical predictions. How is this possible? She asked, amazed. Because you stopped counting numbers, I said, and let the number count you. You stopped using math, and math began using you. You became a living equation of divinity. The breathing number can't be learned by the mind. It must be remembered by the heart. It's encoded in your DNA, engraved in your soul, pulsing in every cell. When you walk, you count steps in this number's language. When you speak, you form syllables in its dialect. When you love, you multiply its formula. Practice this for 7 days. Spend the first minutes each morning simply feeling your breath. Don't count it. Don't look for patterns. Don't measure its length. Just let your breath breathe you. In this state of surrender, declare your deepest intention, not as a command, but as an equation. The universe is already solving. You'll find your life starts to run with cosmic precision, not because you learned a new technique, but because you remembered the primal language through which your soul talks to universal intelligence. After months of practice, Nith became a master of sacred mathematics. She no longer needed tools because she had learned to read the living numbers breathing in every moment. Her last question was, Todd, what is the most sacred number? I answered, the most sacred number is the one you are right now. You're not just a number, you are a unique, one-of-a-kind number